got a huge collection, so if you could narrow that down to only 3 games, what 3 would remain on your shelf? Now, because you work at a board game cafe, I have to ask you, and this is the question that everybody hates me asking, but what are your top 3 games?
Yeah.
So now we come to the hardest part of the interview, and that's where I ask you, what are your top 3 games of all time? What are your top 3 favorite board games? What's your favorite board game? I'm here with Greg Ashfield. He's the brainchild, the original man who brought Otonacon to Peterborough. Greg, so tell us, how long has Otonacon been running?
It started in 2016. It ran up until, I guess, 2020 when the COVID hit, and it restarted in 2022, and it's been back for 3 years, so it's a total of 7 years so far.
And what possessed you to get this started?
I love board gaming. I had been previously involved with another convention, and I wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to have a little bit more structure to the convention, a larger library, and more opportunities for local people to get out and not only shop their wares, but be able to have their games being talked about, being able to play the games, but really bring together a smaller group of people in a way that everybody sort of felt included and valued.
Very nice. And you've got a ton of games here. How many are we looking at?
The library that I have currently is about 407 games. I had it around 370. I knew I promised about 400, so I pushed it over the limit just to make sure I was getting there. My own collection's over 1,000, but I just, for packing, being able to get into the van, I make sure that I can keep it around 400.
So before we end this interview, I am going to ask you what your 3 favorite games are. But first I want to ask you, what are people playing at the convention?
Well, we do have a distributor here, ILO, based out of Montreal, and they do a lot of distribution for Canada. And a lot of their games have been really popular this weekend, specifically Courtesans, Far Away. There's a NAR tournament going on right now and has been played several times over. Also another game called After Us has been extremely popular this weekend. Aside from that, I've seen several people playing newer games like Revive, Nucleum, that seem to be quite popular, a little bit heavier, crunchier, but also some other ones, like tried and true favorites. Terraforming Mars has hit the table. I've seen a couple of Rosenbergs hit the table, and then a lot of fun card games that are really quick to play and bring people together in a fast and furious manner.
Okay, so this is the part of the video everyone's been waiting for.
Yeah.
You've got a huge collection, so if you could narrow that down to only 3 games, what 3 would remain on your shelf?
Caverna by Rosenberg, because I can play it solo and I can play it with 7. Orleans is probably my favorite game of all time right now, and then I would need something else and I would have to think about it for a while longer, but let's say Quicks, because that's probably my favorite filler right now, and I've played it over 150 times and it just never seems to get old.
That's impressive. And if people are thinking about coming out to Otonacon, new people who've never been here before, what would you want to say to them?
I hope you do, and whether you've been to a convention before or you're a veteran of conventions, I believe that we do have something for you and we are available to you. Whether it is, you're looking to do some really heavy gaming, we have that available to you. If you're looking to join a bunch of events or tournaments, those are available. Or if you're just looking to meet some new people and have some new experiences, that's also there. Everyone is welcome here, regardless of race, creed, age, and more. But hopefully you come here and you find a home here.
I'm here at Otonacon 2024 with Dylan from the
Boardwalk Board Game Lounge.
The Boardwalk Board Game Lounge in Peterborough, Ontario. Now, Dylan, thank you for coming. You're here all 4 days?
All 4 days, yeah, all weekend long.
Fantastic. And you've got a bit of a display here with some games that people are into. What games are you finding are the most popular?
The games that have been popular here this weekend, we've got NAR has been a big hit. It's a cool little Viking game. Courtesans, Far Away is a cool little tableau builder that has been a big hit. Tanuki is another one. A local designer here in Peterborough made this game, and so it's on the play to win table, and people have been loving it. So.
Any relationship to Mario Tanuki?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Very good. Now you've got a store downtown here.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, what do you find that people are enjoying most when they come into your store?
I mean, people love
Be honest
games.
here.
Yeah. I mean, mean, Guess Who and Connect 4, they always sneak their way up our list, right? Those like easy to play 2-player ones that you can just come in and you intuitively know what you're doing are always a hit, as well as the Cards Against Humanity style games.
Perfect.
But that Tanuki one I mentioned gets a ton of play as well. We have one called Oh Really, which is like a bit of like a social get to know each other one. Yeah, so there's lots and lots and lots of games that are a big hit. Wingspan as well, of course, right? Everybody loves Wingspan. So
Wingspan is that beautiful game that crosses the line just between heavy and light.
Yeah.
Where, you know, some of the lighter normie players might get into that.
Right.
And take on the challenge.
And the appearance, the aesthetic, the components draw you in.
Absolutely.
And then you get into it a little bit more, and before you know it, you're also wanting to try Wormspan, the new dragon one, or Viticulture, or some of these other, trickier ones.
Yeah, let's grab a hold of that one here.
Yeah.
Great game. Now, funny that people come to the Board Game Cafe to play games that are really light that I would consider. Do you think they're there more for the social experience then?
I think what's nice about a Board Game Cafe is you can come together and you can play games with people, right? And I don't think a lot of people have Battleship in their houses anymore. They might have moved on from that, but still having that nostalgic tie to it is nice. And it's cool to be able to go from those kinds of games and also have access to 600 other games that you could like try. And we have games that if you're playing Connect 4, I can suggest Quarto, which is similar, but gives you a bit of a twist on it, or TAC, which again has some similarities for sure, but it's a different new experience that lets you try some things a little bit different.
So cool. Now, because you work at a Board Game Cafe and are co-owner at the cafe, you must have discerning taste. So I have to ask you, and this is the question that everybody hates me asking, but what are your top 3 games?
I get it all the time, and it drives me crazy every single time. In no particular order, I will say Wingspan. I adore Wingspan. It's super good. I love Quacks of Quedlinburg. It is a favorite of mine. Again, there's something so fun about the like push your luck, but I feel like I'm in control, but I'm probably not at all in control at all. And then I would say Carcassone's been like a long time favorite of mine, right? Like
Classic.
Something so quick and neat, right? And I like that. I like how it plays with 2. Carcassonne at 2 is like also probably one of the games that I actually win most consistently at.
Right.
So that makes a difference in terms of how much I could like it.
You and I are different that way because I love games that I lose at for some reason.
Great.
All of my favorite games I cannot win.
Well, fantastic.
But maybe it's just I keep trying to learn to get better.
Right.
So, and one last question for you here. So you're loving Wingspan.
Yeah.
You played Wormspan.
I did.
Give me a quick snapshot. How do they compare, and which one is? I guess Wingspan's better.
So for me, Wingspan is better. I like birds better than I like dragons, though, right? So that like initially edged it out.
Interesting. Yeah. Most people I think like dragons better than birds.
I think I'm in the minority.
In this room anyway. So.
Yes. I've seen more of this being played than Wingspan this weekend for sure. But they've done a really good job capturing the heart of what makes Wingspan great. And I think in a world without Wingspan, I would be more than ecstatic to tell you that I love Wormspan as well, right?
There's enough changes.
It feels fresh. It feels different. I have no problem having it on the shelf next to Wingspan. It provides a good, different, unique experience, but feels familiar. If you played Wingspan before, it's a little bit easier to get into, and you can appreciate some of the different changes and different decisions that Connie Vogelman made when she was designing this game. So
amazing. Okay, well, with that being said, it's been a pleasure to meet you. Thanks
you as
so
well.
much.
Yeah.
And hope you have fun this weekend at Otonacon 2024. All right, Karen.
Edit that out.
Otonacon 2024.
Yes.
You're playing some games. Looks like you're having a lot of fun here.
Always. I always have fun when I'm playing games.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Frozen Frontier, Arcade Wonders, and
Cosmodrome.
Cosmodrome. Okay. And I think you may be hanging around the booth at Gen Con a little bit around the Arcade Wonders
I will
booth.
often be teaching games pretty much anywhere you see me.
So tell me about this game.
A bit of a space exploration. We are going to different cities in space. The Earth is in trouble. We are mining helium-3 to send back to Earth.
Very cool.
So it plays over 3 rounds, but there's a lot of involvement. So there's resource management. There's some area control components that are going to score some points at the end. We're just finishing up round 2 here. I think Rebecca's about to end the game round so that I don't get another turn.
What other games are you hoping to get to the table?
I've got a few to the table that I like. Like I said, if I get my pick, I like lots of moving parts. So I'm really enjoying Marrakesh. It's a Stefan Feld game by Queen.
And that's your Desert Island game?
That is one of my Desert Island games, yes. Today I'm running a Sagrada tournament, which is
cool.
Canadian designers.
Yeah, from Guelph.
No, one's from Waterloo, and
yeah.
Daryl has now moved to Markham. So
Awesome, that's great. well, we love supporting Canadian creators.
We do love supporting Canadian content creators and big game designers, for sure.
For sure. And what were your other 2 Desert Island games?
Probably still Terraforming Mars.
Okay, yeah.
Loved Terraforming Mars for a long time.
Love the engine builders?
Yeah, I like engine builders. And probably something like Orleans, so that bag builder.
Wow, Greg, who's running the convention, that was one of his top 3.
Yeah.
I think you're going to like Fractured Sky.
All right, I'll give it a try.
Yeah,
I'll give it a try.
It's a lot of fun.
Yep.
So now we come to the hardest part of the interview, and that's where I ask you, what are your top 3 games of all time? If you had to empty your collection just down to 3. We've already mentioned your Desert Island games, so you can't pick those again.
You're hurting my heart.
I know, this is cruel and unusual.
No, that's not even a question. I can't. There's no way I could take my. I have probably about 1,100 games. No, probably about 1,300 games now.
1,300 games
with
okay.
expansions.
A little excessive. I'm gonna tell you.
Maybe a little bit.
That's
maybe
okay.
a little bit. I could probably narrow that down. I probably could, but not down to 1.
Okay.
Not down to 3 even.
Let's just throw a few that come to mind then, without committing to those as your top 3.
What do I play the most? If I don't have the mental capacity to learn a new game and I want to play something that I really truly enjoy and it's something that we love, Terraforming Mars, Stone Age, Architects of the West Kingdom, Furnace.
Nice.
It's a Wonderful World, Planet Unknown. I'm really liking simultaneous play, where there's not a lot of downtime between turns, so there's been quite a few of those coming out. Large player count simultaneous play, and I like that because then you get to hang with friends. And
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's about the friends, not the game.
Always.
Right?
It's about the friends that I've made, and that shifted. So I've been volunteering in the game industry for probably 12 years now, and before that, I worked in a retail game shop and didn't know any better. I didn't know there was conventions.
Right.
And so that was like
revelation.
Nirvana when I discovered that. But yeah, it's all about friends now.
Well,
I love playing games. This is the best. I get to hang out with friends and people that I love.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate
Yeah, thanks,
you,
Randy. Nice to meet you.
Today. Nice to meet you too, Karen.
All right.
Cheers.
Have a good day. Play some games.
Yes.
In front of your shop.
I'm at Otonacon 2024. Speaking with some of the vendors. So tell me, who are you?
I'm Joshua Kitts. I run Compose Dream Games, which is an RPG distributor and publisher. We carry all sorts of primarily Canadian published games.
Awesome. Good to hear.
Indie role-playing games. We do have a good number of UK publishers as well.
Oh, fantastic. So now tell me, of everything you've got on display here, what would you recommend to me as a person who you've never met before? What's your best product, or what's the thing that would...
What I would often
me?
ask somebody would be like, what genres do you like?
Sci-fi, Star Wars, that kind of thing is great. Fantasies, Avatar is great.
Great. So for sci-fi, I've got a little sci-fi section here. So if you wanted a nice long campaign, something like Free Spacer is great. You get to build factions and so on, and your society and who you're working for. You're the crew of a starship in Free Spacer.
Ooh, okay.
If you wanted something that was more quick and narrative, Once More Into the Void is brand new. This is, you've got a threat to the galaxy, and you've saved the galaxy once before, but your crew all hates each other, so you have to get them all back together to save the galaxy one more time.
Sounds like Guardians of the Galaxy-esque.
Yeah.
Firefly, perhaps?
Yeah. So that one has kind of like a bunch of mini games you go through that are sort of optional, and then you confront
more like one-off
threat to the galaxy.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's fantastic. And is there a system that these are built around, or?
So both of those are their own systems.
Okay.
The first one was by a publisher out of Vancouver. This one's one out of Gatineau, Ottawa area.
Brilliant. So one last question for you. What's your favorite board game? If you were to crack out a game here,
if I was to crack out a board game,
what would you get into?
I'm a war games guy, really.
Yes,
when I get into the
war games channel. So
I'd probably have to go with Sekigahara, the Unification of Japan.
Awesome.
Which is, I guess it's getting up there in years, but yeah, it's a great one.
That's perfect. We're coming out with a few videos on that in the next probably month or so.
Nice.
My buddy toured around Japan and saw some of the areas associated with Sekigahara. So we're that's very cool. I didn't know anybody else who knew that game.
Very nice. Well, if you wanted to get into some RPGs that were more historical,
Yes. Oh, yes.
on that note, so Shadows of the Past
Very cool.
is from a Nova Scotia designer, and it covers all sorts of different historic eras. So you pick an era, and you play. It's got some nice morale mechanics to it. Or the classic Ross Rifles,
Oh, I
which
don't
is
know this one,
Canadians
yeah.
in the trenches of World War I.
Okay, yep.
And this uses something that's called the Powered by the Apocalypse engine. So
Yes. Oh, very nice. So the same as Avatar and Last Airbender uses that system.
Yeah. And
very cool.
You know, one of the Canadian classics is Monster Hearts.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh, that's awesome. Well, so good to meet you today. Thank you for your time, and best of luck.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Cheers. Here at Otonacon with Chris Cormier. So tell me, you are running geekygoodies.com, but you also have a podcast?
Yeah, Escape into Board Games. It's my co-host and I. We talk about board games. We choose a theme for the episode, and we talk about that theme. So it might be horror games or deck building games or that kind of thing. And we try to keep it under an hour. And yeah.
Perfect. We'll put a link to your podcast in the description if you want to check that out. And you also have a business. You have some merchandise here.
Yep.
T-shirts, mugs, all the bling. Yeah. How long have you been running that business for?
10 plus years, 11 years, I think. I've been designing T-shirts, mugs, posters, drink coasters, keychains, the whole gambit of things on my website, geekygoodies.com. Yeah, we take orders online and come to cons like Otonacon.
Nice. Okay, and now the most important question of all, which you're waiting for, I'm sure, and that's, what are your top 3 favorite board games?
Well, I think if you ask me tomorrow, I might have a slightly different answer, but I would say Viticulture #1.
Fantastic.
That's been my #1 for a while. Love that game. Alhambra with the big box with all the bunch of expansions, makes it lots of fun.
Brilliant.
And Himalaya, an older game, sort of pre-programmed movement. That's mine.
Oh, fantastic. Have you played Viticulture World?
I haven't yet. I have a copy, and it's sitting on the shelf of shame waiting for me to play it.
Yes, there's too many shelf of shames.
I know.
Fantastic.
I need to get sleeves so they match the base game, and then we can play it.
And have you been eyeing up any games here that you'd like to play today?
None that has really stood out, but I did play, I'm going to get the name wrong, I hope I don't get the name wrong, Sea Salt and Paper.
Okay.
It's a very tiny little card game. It's like the smallest little box. So good, so good. We were like, let's play it once, and it's great, and we played it 4 times in a row.
Oh, that's
very
amazing.
fast, very quick, very fun. Yeah, it was a good
I thought you were
game.
going to say Wormspan because you seem to be a Stonemaier guy.
Yeah, I haven't played Wormspan yet. Love Wingspan, haven't played Wormspan. I saw some people playing it, and I was like, I'm going to ask them what they think of it and decide if I need to play that before we go home.
It's awesome. Well, pleasure to meet you.
Yes, thanks very much.
Chris.
Thanks very much.